This here's the story of how they broke the human spirit. With a gray plastic tray. Can you believe it? Right now, as we speak, millions of tax-paying adults are hopping around on one wet sock, all because some fella named Gary, wearing a polyester badge, told him to. The global aviation sector, well, they call this a safety protocol. Me? I call it a warning, plain and simple. Well now, welcome to the modern disassembly line, folks. That's a place where humanity collectively agrees to be publicly taken apart, item by item, under the cold, judgment-heavy gaze of a crowd. This ain't no aviation safety procedure, friends. It's a global behavioral obedience ritual. And say howdy to our target specimen, Civilian Earl. He's a man of culture and dignity. He's got a fresh haircut, a neatly pressed button-down shirt, and his digital boarding pass pulled up on his phone. He's looking forward to his first vacation in 3 years, too. A trip he booked specifically to escape the feeling that civilization was collapsing around him. Earl, he don't quite understand the irony of this yet. But Earl, he's walking straight into an administrative trap, I tell you. See, he just crossed the threshold into the Great Footwear Decree of 2001. Nobody alive actually remembers why we started taking our boots off, but the second a laminated sign commands a human to do it, we comply instantly, driven by a primal dread of missing a connection flight to Omaha. Well, hold on to your hats, folks, because old Earl just walked into a line that ain't no ordinary queue. No, sir, it's the pre-processing human feedlot, where the system don't see Earl as a customer or a taxpayer. Nah, it sees him as a walk-in container of uncertified personal items that just gotta be aggressively neutralized. His mission is simple: drag his physical body and his small rolling suitcase past that gray plastic barrier, and reach gate B-17 before that gate agent shuts the metal door and strands him in Atlanta forever. But first, old Earl, he hits the initial administrative bottleneck, the gray tray famine. Now, listen here, there are 85 stressed-out travelers in this line and exactly 4 structurally compromised gray plastic bins left on that rolling rack. The gray tray economy, let me tell you, it's brutal. Those who possess 3 clean trays, they hold absolute power over the peasants who have none. And wouldn't you know it, the crowd starts to eyeball each other like wolves over a fresh deer carcass. Earl, he's got to tap into his ancient hunter-gatherer instincts, aggressively hoarding 3 trays before some sweet old lady in a tracksuit can shove him out of the way. Now, folks, we're talking about the application of the ancient liquid law of 2006. A sacred doctrine, I tell you, handed down from the Department of Container Regulation. Through methods that have never been explained to anyone on God's green earth, they determined that 3.4 ounces is the precise volume at which a liquid stops being dangerous. 4 ounces, that's criminal. 3.4, blessed. Out in the parking lot, a bottle of mouthwash is just personal hygiene. But the second it crosses into the terminal, it becomes a controlled substance. If old Earl has a 4-ounce bottle, he is a threat to the Republic. But if he pours that exact same liquid into 2 smaller, stupider bottles, he is a compliant saint walking under God's protection. Nobody questions this. It's a religious ceremony, and Earl is about to be baptized. Earl, he's entered the laptop extraction emergency protocol, and let me tell you, this is where the human collapse phase truly begins. His backpack zippers, well, they chose this exact moment to cross-thread and jam up tighter than a drum. And his charging cables? They've tangled themselves into a perfect nautical knot around his iPad. The civilians behind him, they start sighing heavily, burning holes into the back of Earl's neck with pure concentrated hatred. Look at Earl sweat, y'all. He's completely disassembled his whole life on a stainless steel counter. His laundry, it's spilled open for the world to see, including a novelty pair of socks his wife bought him that say "World's Okayest Cock" on them, which the woman directly behind him reads out loud by accident. Oh, the whole goddamn line is watching him fail in real time, folks. I have been documenting human behavior for 11 years, and I have never ever seen anything quite like this. Now, Earl, he enters the pocket purification failure. He empties his pockets into the tray. Keys, wallet, loose change. He thinks he's clean. He steps up to the yellow footprint judgment. 2 painted feet on the floor that the United States government has decided is where a human being belongs. He enters the full-body scanner, raises his hands above his head like he's being held up by a highwayman on a dirt road in 1887. The machine, well, it considers him. The machine deliberates. Earl, he stares straight ahead, naked of dignity, standing on two yellow feet, hoping that the society he pays taxes into decides to let him through. The machine, well, it spins. Well, folks, the red light of administrative damnation, she's flashing. The conveyor belt, she freezes solid. And that TSA agent, he's looking at old Earl with pure, unadulterated disappointment. Earl, he forgot about a single prehistoric piece of foil-wrapped spearmint gum, hidden in the fifth pocket of his cargo shorts. Can you believe that? He is promptly ordered to step aside into the secondary inspection gulag. The entire queue, they're watching him walk away like he's being shipped to a penal colony, while his unzipped backpack rolls down the belt entirely unattended. But here's what they ain't telling you. That machine, well, it didn't actually find a dang thing dangerous. Welcome to the random selection myth, folks. According to internal documentation that, well, doesn't exist but absolutely should, that beep rate is calibrated specifically to target folks who make eye contact with security personnel in a friendly manner. Old Earl, he just said good morning to the guard, then Earl smiled. The system, it identified him as a high compliance asset and flagged him for supplemental processing. That's what they do with the polite ones. Earl never stood a chance. He was selected the moment he walked in, looking like a man who apologizes for things he didn't do. Now, hold on a minute, folks, and just you observe the liturgy of the pat-down. That there's an ancient administrative dance practiced across 93 nations, designed to remind the traveler that their physical body, well, it belongs to the state the very second they purchase an economy ticket. And look at the deep civilizational shame of the one-shoe posture. There ain't a creature on God's green earth lower than a man trying to maintain his human dignity while hopping around on one damp sock on a freezing tile floor, while a man named Dwight snaps a latex glove somewhere behind him. They didn't just take his shoes, y'all. They took his pride. They took the whole darn thing. Somehow Earl survives that pat-down. Ain't no apology coming his way, just a cold nod that screams, "Get out of my sight, you hear?" He crawls on over to that post-scanner reconstruction bench, that sad, crowded row of vinyl seats where folks try to remember just who in tarnation they were before they stripped down. He threads his belt back through them loops, jams his loose keys into his pockets, and, bless his soul, he retrieves those world's okayest cock from the bottom of that tray, with the quiet dignity of a man just picking up the wreckage of a life. And you know what? He feels a hollow, completely unearned sense of spiritual victory. He conquered that machine. Earl finally makes it to gate B-17, parched drier than a West Texas creek bed in August, all on account of his water being confiscated at the line. So he ambles over to that airport gift shop and buys the exact same brand of bottled water for $9 whole. And the fella who sells it to him? He works for the very same parent corporation that owns them disposal bins right there at the front of the security line. The $9 bottled water loophole? Well, it just completes its cycle, don't it? He sits himself down, opens that bottle, and he drinks it real slow, staring at that departure board with the quiet, hollow look of a man who just now understands how everything works.